and I thought Jaws 3 was bad. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back with the conclusion of the Jaws marathon, and today we are talking about the one, the only Jaws the Revenge. As you guys may have seen in the intro, um, I thought, I honestly thought that Jaws 3 was going to be the lowest of the low for the Jaws series. Um, Apparently, I was wrong. This is. Um, but anyways, let's get on to the details. Or let's get on to the review. So this had a budget of $20 million. I'm surprised that it literally had that big of a budget. I honestly thought it had a budget of like 5 million, because this literally looks like it literally. I think this looks worse than the Jaws ride that was at Universal. Anyways, and so at the domestic box office, it made just over $20 million, and worldwide it made over 51 million. So was a box office bomb. And it's not surprising. Um, but honestly, I kind of wanted there to be another one to kind of bring up the crap that was in Jaws 1 and not Jaws 1 and 2, Jaws 3 and 4, and kind of get the series to a proper conclusion. Cuz this is utter garbage. Um and this was directed by Joseph Sargent. Sorry if I butchered that name. Um I don't I'd never really heard of his work before, but if you're hearing this right now, you probably wouldn't like. This is like, I don't want to watch any of your other films, because this might have been the worst way to watch one of your films. And this was released on July 17th of 1987. Anyway, so let's get on to the plot. The family of widow Ellen Brody, played by Lauren Gary, has been plagued by shark attacks, and this unfortunate uh, association continues when her son Sean Brody, played in this film by Mitchell Anderson, is the victim of a massive gray white. In mourning, Ellen goes to visit her other son Michael, played by Lance Guest in this film, in the Bahamas, where she meets the charming Hoagy Newcomb, played by Michael Caine, surprisingly. Like, I knew he was in this film, like, he's literally on the back of the Blu-ray, but I didn't think he would have that much of a big role in this film. But no, he's one of the main characters. As Ellen and Hoagy begin a relationship, a huge shark appears off the coast of the island, and Ellen's troubles with the great whites begin again. So yeah, as I may have occurred to you guys already over the last 4 minutes so far of this review, I hate this film. I absolutely think it's atrocious. Um, I I honestly don't want to watch this movie again. It's that bad. Um, so anyways, let's talk about the cast. Lauren Gary as Ellen Brody. This is her third time, and obviously the last time she's gonna be playing, I think, Ellen Brody. And now she's played the character more times than any other, more time in more movies than any other actor. Roy Scheider only appeared in the first two. She appeared in the first two in this film, obviously. Um, and then the kids of Michael, the kids Michael and Sean, basically in every film have been recast. Now Ellen Brody is basically the star of the film, and honestly, like, I think she was the weakest part of the first two. So giving her like like top of billing, I think this is a bad choice. Um, but surprisingly, she's able to pull it off. Um, but yeah, Michael Caine as Hoagy. Um, it's very well known that Michael Caine has never seen the film. In fact, he has called this one of his paycheck pictures, where basically he just does it for the paycheck. And for this film, he actually said he just did it for to be in a set in Hawaii. I mean, who wouldn't? But there was a quote. If I can remember, I think he said, by my accounts, the movie is terrible. Like, I haven't seen the film, but by my accounts, it's terrible. I've seen the mansion that it built, and I think it looks fantastic. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. Lance Guest as Michael Brody. I've only seen him one time before this, and that was in the original Halloween 2, which I actually do have in my collection. Will I be reviewing that? Most likely around Halloween, at least. Um, Mario Van Peebles as Jake. Um, I think I've only seen him once before I watched this film, or like I've heard of him, and that was, I believe, in Highlander 3, the Sorcerer, or the Final Dimension, as we called it in here in America. And I think he's a really good part about this film. He's very funny, you know. Um, Karen Young as Carla Brody. Um, she's okay. I didn't really pay attention to her that much. She's just, you know, there. Um, Mitchell Anderson as Sean Brody. Yeah, I can't really give my like. He was okay. I really think they could have done more with him as a character in this film. But obviously, within like the first like 5-10 minutes of the film, he's killed off. Um, which I think is honestly, to be completely honest, I think he's the best death in the film, and I think he's the only deaf in the film. No. Actually, I think there's like only two. It's him, and then there's the beachgoer on the banana boat. Which actually, speaking of that banana boat sequence, that's my favorite scene in the film. Cause well, actually, hold up. Before we get to that, I want to talk about the last person of the cast I want to talk about is Judith Barsi as Thea Brody, who is in the film is Michael and Kara's daughter. Um, okay, I'm gonna. This is the part where I might get emotional, cause I read about what happened to this little girl, and I think it's an absolute travesty. So before she did Jaws: The Revenge, um, she was in two animated films. It was The Land Before Time, and she was one of the dinosaurs in The Land Before Time, and she was the main girl in All Dogs Go to Heaven, and she obviously starred in Jaws: The Revenge. But a year after this film was made, the poor girl was murdered by her father, and um, her mother was murdered too, and the father committed suicide. And I honestly think, um, honestly, if she wasn't in this film, um, I think honestly no one would really have heard of her. Um, but the fact that she's in this film, I honestly, I think that's the only reason why I would ever come back to this film um, is um, because I want to pay, my respects to Judith Bartzi, and this kind of leads to my favorite scene in the film, where after Mike had his first encounter with the shark, the day after he goes back in there to find it, and he can't find anything, at the same time, there is a celebration going on on the actual island, and Thea wants to go on a banana boat, and you know, now Kara says yes, and she's going on the banana boat, and um, I guess we can kind of talk about this now, but Ellen Brody has psychic power, like psychic connection with the shark. Like how? Like how do you have a psychic connection with a freaking shark? It just I get it's a movie, but if you're trying to go for realism, don't try and make a psychic connection with a god with a shark. Like anyway, so she has these psychic powers. I don't know where they came from, and she senses that the shark is coming, and she sees the fin coming towards the banana boat, and she's running, and Carla sees the fin, starts running towards the sea, and then you just get this one shot of them, on the banana boat, and all of a sudden the shark just pops out, and that moment I felt genuine terror for her because I don't like out of all the characters, I honestly felt the most terrified for her because she's a kid. Um, she has like so much to kind of do with her life, and the fact that she was that close to death with a shark, it made me actually feel terrified, and um, it's just a real shame that um that Judith Barsi died after a year after this film. So, unfortunately, with the whole YouTube thing going on right now, unfortunately, you can't post comments on this video because even though I need to I want to make money off of YouTube, the only way I can do it is if I have the video made for kids. So, um, that's kind of unfortunate. Um, but um, I'm just gonna say it now. If you want to follow me on Instagram to get like the latest news, um, I will have a photo of Judith Barsi on an Instagram post, and we can all pay our respects for her, cause it's honestly a travesty about what happened to this little girl, and I just I think it just really sucks that this would happen to some girl like that, and um, I honestly think that she could have gone on to do better things, and so yeah. Um, but to kind of bring back up the mood from that, these, to kind of bring it back up a bit, the special effects in this film are absolute crap, like absolute garbage. Um, like I don't know how this film got up to $20 million of a budget, because this film looks like a $5 million film. And I honestly think it would have been if they didn't hire Michael Caine and some of these kind of A-list actors. It probably would have been a $5 million budget film, and it probably would have been a success. I mean, granted, if it was $5 million and it made over $20 million, that's still kind of technically considered to be a success. But since it was made on a $20 million budget, and it made only just over $20 million at the domestic box office, where most of the income is supposed to be on a blockbuster kind of like this, that shows that your film sucks. Ugh. All right. Um. Oh yeah, I guess I already said the fun fact about Michael Caine saying that this is one of his paycheck pictures. Um. But so yeah. Really quickly. But um. I honestly don't know what to talk about because I don't want this video to be really super short because honestly, compared to the other ones, it's looking like that right now. Um, but I guess before we get on to, the rating, um, I do want to say one of my favorite things about this film, and probably the only thing I actually like about the film, is the score. Um, it was composed by Michael Small, which I never heard of before this film, and um, I hear some noises in the back. Like I'm on the front of my house. Um, but the score I think is honestly very well. Unfortunately, in the actual film itself, they only used, from what I've heard, they only used like about. Sorry about the yawning. It's actually 3 right now when I'm recording this, and I'm already tired. Um. But anyways, I think they only used about 2 or 3 tracks in like 90% of the film, and they used some sporadic tracks from other, you know, like certain sections from other tracks in the film in certain parts of the film, which I think is really unfortunate. Um, Unfortunately, if you do want to get the Jaws soundtracks, they're all currently unavailable right now, unless you go on like eBay or like Craigslist or something like that, and you want to pay like stupid amount of prices for them, which I don't want to do. Um, uh, I know at some point they're probably most likely gonna re-release the first film and the second film. For Jaws 3, I'm not sure, and Jaws 4, I'm not sure. But if you go onto YouTube, there's a channel out there I think has um, who has put out all the Jaws soundtracks in a playlist so that you can listen to them as a playlist. So if you want to listen to that um, in any capacity, I think that's the best way to do it as of now. Unless you're, a millionaire and you say screw it, you just want to spend that kind of money on a single CD, then go right ahead. But for me, I don't want to do that, so I will, for right now, stick with um, the digital versions that I can listen to. So yeah. And now we're gonna talk about the rating. Um, Now, I said that Jaws 3 was bad, and it's still bad. I still stand by my rating of a 4 out of 10. But this film, I swear to God, I'm gonna put this at a 0 out of 10. It was, actually, since I did like a couple things about it, maybe a 1 out of 10. Because then I could say I liked a couple things, but mostly the whole film was absolute garbage. So yeah, I'm gonna give this film a 1 out of 10. Um, you know, this film is basically 90% garbage, and I guess we can go over the Blu-ray now. So, yeah, so like Jaws 2 and 3, this was released in 2016 to go along with the, Jaws 2 and 3. And so there's the front, the spine, and the back. Now, it may look like there's, no special features on there, but in terms of special features, it actually does have a couple. Um, and by a couple, I mean like 2. Of course, theatrical trailers and that sort of stuff. But they also have the alternate ending for this film. Now, we're going to be going on to spoiler territory. Um, but the ending for the. If you watch this, regularly, the ending for the regular version is so bonkers that I can't believe they actually decided to, do it. So, they put this thing in the shark's mouth, so whenever this light goes off, it would shock it, and for some reason the shark roars like a T-Rex. I don't know why, because this film, okay, okay, so the shark just starts roaring like a T-Rex, and Ellen Brody, I guess, starts seeing these visions of like Sean's death and Thea getting attacked by the shark on the banana boat, and Martin Brody blowing up the shark in the first film. And so she thinks, you know what, I'm just gonna ram the shark, and the shark explodes. How can you? How how can that happen? How can that happen with a shark that has basically a light in its mouth and it just explodes? um, but yeah, and then the shark explodes, kind of like, and then they use the same shot at the end, like at the end of the first one, with the shark with like without its head sinking into the ocean. And I say that's being cheap, movie. That's being cheap, and I don't like that at all. But the alternate ending is a little bit better, not that much better, but at least it makes more sense. So she rams into the shark, and it basically impales him, and he's like, "Wah!" And it's like starts spitting up shark blood, and then it cracks off the front of the boat, and it sinks down into the ocean. That makes sense. Having the shark explode, it doesn't make sense. But yeah. So yeah, guys, this is I need to calm down. This is my longest video yet. At precise we're at like 21 minutes and 30 seconds. Jeez. I'm kind of glad to be over with the Jaws marathon. I'm honestly glad because, I was able to see Jaws 2, and I really like that, but I also got to see Jaws 3 and 4 for the first time, and I think those are absolute crap. But stay tuned for, the next video, whenever that's going to be. And, like I said earlier, follow me on my Instagram for, you know, random tidbits on, future uploads. And maybe tonight I will be making a post asking you guys when what movie I should be on doing next. Not the Emoji Movie, because I already said I ain't doing that. So yeah. So I hope you guys enjoy. Follow me on Instagram for tidbits on what movie I should review next. And see you guys in the next video. Live long and prosper. Out.